Jason, remember this?
I do remember this.
That's you and me on the chin ramp, double inverts, like search for Animal Chin. And that's me wearing the actual shirt from that original photo on Animal Chin.
It's so crazy.
And now we're selling these.
Yeah, and I'm here. I'm just a part of it.
So we signed 1,000 of these.
Yeah.
Well, I've signed most of them, and you have to sign them.
I'm gonna do it right now.
So that by the time you were watching this, they will be available, ready to ship. Boom.
Yeah, I'd hurry up and get one, man. This is the greatest thing that I'll ever be a part of, ever. So.
I'm pretty hyped on this.
Yeah.
So they're at TonyHawk.com, I think. Yep. TonyHawk.com.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a place. That's a good place.
All right. Keep searching.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
Good. Better now. Yes. All right. That was amazing. Bucky Lassick on the ramp. I mean, I've got to talk to this star in the cowboy hat.
Welcome. Here we go.
And I'm not Tony Hawk.
But how long has it been since you were actually living in California?
It's got, well, like actually living was probably 2014, 15.
Okay.
And then I started going back and forth a lot.
Yeah. But that was just sort of, it just evolved into that, or did you make a conscious choice?
No, it was like a slow, like it's almost like I felt like I was needed there more, right?
Yeah.
And then I felt like I wanted to like get some the foundation at the Institute, Skateboarding Cares, and I started that like during the pandemic. And then once, instead of flying here, I remember it was like Lotus's birthday, and I was gonna fly back, and then all that stuff was happening, and then my wife was there, and then I was like, man, I'm gonna wait this out here, and then it was just like there.
I live in Brazil now.
Yeah, and then it was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'll come back. But then I started the foundation, all this work, and then it was just like, dude, I'm just super busy here. And I'd come out and do like I did the Mega Ramp event for TV for come out here, hang out for 2 months, and then go back. And then last year it didn't happen. It's been like over a year, which is crazy.
Wow.
You know,
Wait, you
that I
haven't been
back.
in America for over a year?
Yeah, over a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the longest. Because I was always doing
Well,
something.
it's not like there's a lack of skating in Brazil.
Yeah. No, I definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I skate a lot more here. I trip and I'm skating the Mega, and I can roll around the bowl or whatever. In Brazil, it's an issue, right? To get on the motorcycle, get traffic, and then go to the vert ramp and come back, and then between meetings and everything else, it was just like harder to like get it into the rhythm. I skated, but it wasn't like as often, right? Like, compared to here.
Yeah.
Right. Even if I skate, it's not going to be as much as I skate here.
Because you literally don't have one in your backyard.
Yeah, I got definitely.
Is that your house still?
What, down in Brazil?
No, the one.
Here.
Oh yeah.
So who lives there?
Lotus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
New
okay.
generation. It was my mom and dad, and then they went to Oregon because my sister lives there.
Yeah.
Milena, who we own Melodia together, and then they went to Oregon, and then my dad's like, I was going to spend some time there. And
Yeah.
then they went, and then the house was empty for like a month, and then Lotus was in Texas, living there for. Just want to leave the house. I want to go. I was like, all right, good. So 2 years, and then she came back, and then been holding the fort.
That's so amazing. You still have that compound.
Yeah, man. Oh, I missed it. Like just the last couple of
bet.
days, and it's so different from what I'm like. I'm in like São Paulo, right by Avenida Paulista, like, and it's just like buildings and people all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you go down anything. There's like people everywhere, right? And then I got here last 3 nights, and it was just like no one.
Yeah, well, you're in Bonzo.
Quiet. Yeah.
So,
I'm like, and then I walk out and like no one around. It's like so
It's crazy
weird.
how that place isn't growing. Like
Yeah, no.
20
Of
years
all
ago,
places,
right
yeah.
now, same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same amount of
I
traffic.
was thinking of exactly, and then the way I, come in, there's not many lights, and then you go in there, and you'd think like, it's 99 when I moved in there,
Yeah.
and that it would be developed, but
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, some
It's
crazy
kind of a
neighbors.
corner. I don't know. It's like a nice little corner. It's in the county. It's right on the edge of Vista
Yeah.
City, and there's
still plenty of traffic around, but
Plenty of
it's
traffic,
not growing in terms of
yeah.
buildings.
Yeah, and the city lines is kind of like in that corner, but like wherever it was city, I saw a couple of lots. There was a 16-acre lot just right up top. There was like no one around, So I'd fly in, right? Like I had my route of flying in, and then I'd be like, oh, if they build here, they're gonna complain. If they build here, they're gonna complain. And it was just all empty. And now it's like 23 houses in this one lot, and then all these houses. So it's around, right, around me.
You still flying your planes?
Not as much as I want to. I did a couple of I have my parachute always ready, and I drive around. I have this cargo van in Brazil. I just ride my motorcycle in, and then surfboards, parachute, paint, and I just like drive to Rio back and forth. So I always have it ready. I was like, I'll go do a jump, but not like here. Again, like everything's so. Like civil aviation here is like, it's airports everywhere, and the cost is, works. And in Brazil, it's always a thing. You've got to go out there.
Which is easier to fly a little plane around around
here? Well, I learned here. My license is FAA, so I'd have to like you can speak English in Brazil as a pilot if you could go cruise around, but just the airspace rules, everything's like just a little different. And then helicopter routes in São Paulo are insane. They're just super busy, and you kind of got to get into. I'd have to be flying it a little bit and then be comfortable and be like.
Did you want to learn how to fly because you were skydiving?
It was the other way around. I always wanted to fly, but it was in 2000 when I first did my first lesson at Palomar, and then it was just like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. But it was also something to do. That it wasn't like, okay, I'm just skating. I wanted to like, learn something, and it was like, okay, get my pilot's license. And I was just like, learn mechanics and weather and, just maps and navigation. It was super cool. So it was just, but I didn't like, right, if you were to get one, you can do it like 50 hours and, doing it if you cram it up. But it was like between contests, right before finals, I'm reading airplane books, so I'm not thinking.
Oh, that
of
was
the contest.
That was the thick of it right then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like
in the middle, but I made it to
2005 ish.
Exactly.
Like that was
exactly.
That was like Vert's heyday.
Yep. And it was like, no, I got to do this. It was my side, project. It was actually So I was telling my mom and dad, I was like, I'll go to the U.S. and Dad wanted me to go to college and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'll get my pilot's
Well, wait.
license.
So, I mean, obviously we skated together for a long time, but I know that the first big event you came to was Vancouver, right?
Yes.
Slam City Jam.
Yep.
What year?
Well, before that, we skated together in Germany and Belgium and all in '93. I broke my foot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember I showed up in Germany. I broke my foot that night, and then I
was that during one of those run of Euro contests?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was like the first time I ever met you. Like it was playing pinball at a bar. Like I remember we were like hanging out after the skate, and then I was just hanging out. I was just like tripping out. Like that's Tony Hawk.
Bob Burnquist, welcome to the show, by the way.
He needs no introduction. I would say that about very few people.
I just make
Bob
fun of
Burnquist is
Tony
here.
for being official. He's always very official.
Yeah, right.
And this is the first time he hasn't done it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This is for anybody who's just popping into the podcast. This is Bob Burnquist, everybody.
They already knew
He's
that.
here. He's our guest.
They already knew that.
That was pro.
But thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
You never know.
I didn't mean the first time we met, but I was thinking about I remember after that, I didn't go to that Vancouver event, but I remember the buzz afterwards where it was like, this dude from Brazil came and destroyed everyone.
I was there.
Yeah, and then that was it. Like Bob Burnquist was on the map.
I was there and I was like, I'm gonna do well, and I didn't do well, but I remember he did a kickflip into fakie and it was drifting dark side a little bit, and it was like we all did kickflip. All the heavy hitters could do kickflip into fakie, but his was about 2 foot higher than everybody else's
and drifting.
And I was like, who the fuck is that? Because competition, Jason was like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, I've got
one more place to battle with.
Yeah, because I'm like, I got you. You might get me, but we'll see.
You had the list of what
I did, dude. And then you did that, and I was like, who's that? And then a switch fronts in it, and I was like, okay, that's fucking cheating. Like, you can't do that. And then like some other thing, and then I think he did like a 1-footed backside Smith, and I was like,
oh yeah,
man, I don't need this in my life. And then I think he had a hand plant, like an eggplant, or like, did you do egg 3 back then?
Not at. I think I learned it like a year. Like,
could you do frontside invert?
Yeah.
He could do like an old school hand plant, and I was like, Okay, that's because you mean to me, I'm like
complete package.
Well, you can't do. At least you can't. And I'm like, oh, he can do. And I'm like,
That's funny how you have a list of like the routes.
Yeah, like
if he's got inverts. Well, I got. Well, if he's got.
yeah,
like,
no,
lift
you had
kits, so-
you had me covered, and I was like, man, I'm
Next
going.
on the list.
Yeah.
What year was that?
95.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, that event, I wasn't gonna go because that whole school thing. My mom wanted to
I wish you hadn't have.
Yeah, well, I'd go on the next one. but I had to finish high school, and I was like, okay, if I stay in Brazil and just finish this off, and then I just go for good, or should I go? And then the guys at Deluxe, and Max and Fraser, and I was get to travel with them. I was like, man,
But did it change your parents' opinion that you won that big event?
Yeah, no, but I mean, my mom wanted me to like just do whatever and my dad wanted me to go to college. I think he like back in his time, it was like he's always wanted to be a pro musician or whatever, but his parents made him go do the school thing, so he felt like he needed to push me there. And then my mom was like, well, remember when didn't you wish that you would have done? Why didn't you allow him? And I was like, okay, Dad, I'll just go do this, and then I'll finish it off, right? I'll get my GED, is what I told him, And then I went to Canada and hung out, and then all that happened. I was not expecting it. I didn't even. It's not like I prepped for the event. It was just kind of like, no way, this is insane.
Yeah, it felt to me
Yeah.
from an outside. I wasn't there, but it definitely felt like you came in, and it wasn't like you were like, I'm gonna go destroy this contest. It was just like, cool, I get to skate with it and do all this other stuff. And everyone's like, what is he doing? How does he do that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there were people at his level, but it was everybody that was at his level we had known about for like almost a decade, some over a decade. And then this guy, like, it was just back before Instagram, man. Like I'm in the top 10. I've never seen him before. Yeah. And he's in the top 3. And I'm like, how could you not see somebody who's top 3 vert dude? And there's like this at that point, there was barely any of us alive. And I'm like, I don't know him.
95 was that was like dark days of vert.
Like I'd never seen him do ambassador.
The other thing was, I remember hearing him talk, and then they're like, yeah, he's from Brazil. I was like, that dude's not from Brazil.
American accent.
He was hiding somewhere. I just spoke English. And it's funny because there was no like, I didn't even know what I was capable of in the sense of like, I was just having fun. And then Jake Phelps kept calling stuff, do that. Why don't you just drop in and do that? Oh, why didn't you? And I was like, oh, okay, drop into a 540. And I was like, and then dropped in, like it was the jam session. So it was really cool to have him there. Andy screaming. I was there with Cardiel too, all those guys, and then, rooming with Fraser and Schaff. It was just like dream, I'm just skating. And then it's Fraser.
But you were delivering. I mean, that was the thing, is that you were
insane.
of course you were
No, I was just
starry-eyed,
mad,
but then you just go to the ramp. It's like,
why.
oh, there's some. What the hell?
It was
I
the
think
best
that's what it
attitude to
felt.
have.
Yeah, because it felt like it was like didn't
No
prep
pressure.
for this event.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking I needed, qualify for the X Games, and later I found out by winning it. I was like, oh, you're invited to the first X Games.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. I had a Burt it was Vert Reynolds, right? It was Max Schaff's board, like a Burt Reynolds board. And I remember that. Yeah. Just,
that's so sick.
cool.
Yeah, when you were talking about 1 foot backside Smith, it just reminds me of this because it was the 25th anniversary of our first game, and I was the only one that did motion capture for the game, and they had all these lists of special tricks, and one was a 1 foot backside Smith. I had to fucking learn that trick with all those balls on to try to get it for his special trick.
Yeah.
And it's not going to look like his.
No.
Mine's not. But
yeah,
it was.
You had the balls to do it.
I was gonna say, I'd take. Well, wow, seriously. Anybody who could do that, I don't care what it looks like. If you could do it, congratulations.
No, it was.
That is,
and you did all the special
I'm acting
tricks.
like I'm complaining. It gave me the incentive to learn the trick.
that's
crazy.
I was hyped to learn it.
Wait, how many other people's special tricks did you do?
No, everyone's.
I can't remember. No. I mean,
Yeah.
some were just made up. Some were ridiculous.
Right.
But there were definitely ones that were more known for certain skaters, and they were reading them off, and I was like, dude.
Yeah,
all right, you got the balls on. I remember how like crazy is that? Like that was the tech. Now you can just film, right? You film and then you can.
They still do mocap. It's way more advanced,
right?
Do you have to wear that suit?
What's that?
Do you have to wear that suit?
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, but it's not with the. It's just like a.
Yeah, it's just the suit,
a
not
color.
the, yeah.
Okay.
It's some sort of iridescent material. But at the time, it was so complicated, and they didn't even really use most of the data they got because they figured they could animate it just as easily.
Oh, right.
Than using that data.
Well, you got to learn a new trick.
But thank you for that.
No, thank you. I'm really good.
You do sick, goofy-footed, one-footed backside Smith. So in the game.
Okay. Well, shit, they'll have to.
No,
learn
they're
that
more
now.
half-assed actually.
Man. I've never thought about that one actually. The switch one-footed Smith. I don't know. It's hard enough to hold on the solid back foot. I mean, that'd be.
You're capable.
I want to try it.
Sure.
I know, right? You could do it.
Well, what's amazing too, watching you through the year is, especially watching you do switch stuff where your body is still in the normal position doing switch stuff. So you're half the time looking backwards.
Yes.
Which is always, that was like the Bob magic to me. Where he's coming down the wall, still looking at the wall that he rode, and his body just kind of
I felt like if I
does
would
it.
have moved and looked back, I was going to fall. You know, so like whatever's holding
So
me there.
amazing.
But I've always tried to make it like to mirror it. Like I'd love watching switch and be like, how do I do it to where it looks like it? And it would always revert back to like safety, you know, with the body that way or whatever. Like I figure if I'm centered like that, yeah.
But also, your body wasn't even prepared for the next wall, and then you would do like a switch kickflip. That's like a limb just said. Remember when he was at Vert Alert and he was coming up, and then he came up the roll-in, like he accidentally went the roll-in, and then did a switch flip. I'm like, yep, that's on brand.
Well, that's there right now. You know, like, oh, there's that.
Yeah, sure.
Try it. And
Right?
if it
That's
works,
how you
it
feel?
works.
No, not at all.
That's not me either.
I want to plan and strategize.
I think then maybe when I did skate a lot, there was like I mean, not your kind of style because I didn't have your bag of tricks, but I think when I skated a lot and I wasn't hurt, there was like, it was similar to your like heyday where in contests you would do your ride and then with 15 seconds left you would do like 4 or 5 tricks that no one had ever done at the very end of your ride. And every contest, because they'd come out on VHS for me and I'd watch it and go, dude, what? Those last 3 tricks, like no one's ever fucking done before. And I'm like, I'm not there. I'm not in your era. But I was like, oh, so every contest, he like adds stuff at the end of his ride that no one's ever done. And I think there was a little area there where if I got loose, then I would do like one hard trick would lead into another really hard trick. And it wasn't like, I never made the decision that I was like, well, if I make this, then I'm doing something else like crazy after it. It was just like, the hype of it. Like if I made something really hard, the next wall I'd be like, well, I think my body was like pretty much anything's on the table now, and I would get away with it.
If I got that, I'm getting the rest.
Yeah, there was a little pocket I had where that was working for me.
But I feel like you look spontaneous, but you had your runs pretty planned out, right?
I have a plan, but sometimes sticking to plan will make you bail, right?
Right.
So if you land with you got a heel flip coming and you land with a kick flip foot, it's just going to be, if you try the heel flip, you're going to bail.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, okay, that's that, and then pick up again, right?
Yeah.
And it was hard because it was hard to make that decision, because if you're just stuck in like, that's the strategy, then you will bail. And I'd be, I'd rather.
But you would throw, I mean, you were the king of catching stuff
well,
dark side.
if it's in my hands.
Like catching it dark side and then rolling it in.
Yeah.
Which was
it's because
just
when it was
unheard
run
of.
time, it was almost like when it was time to like run,
Sure.
I was like, I do not. Well, my thing was like, I don't want to fall off my board, and
I feel like everybody thought that, but you had
you take slams.
You were better at making when things went wrong. You're the best that ever lived of fixing it.
Improvise,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, that.
Yeah.
You could just
anytime
fix
I
it.
try to do it, like, I mean, obviously,
drinking your coffee.
I've seen. Skated with you, and I see the way you put runs together, and everyone, like, I look. It's not like after a while, it was like, okay, maybe I'm not doing the Ellis, like I got you there and I got you there, but I'm doing like, okay, wow, okay, he's putting the run together like that, and there's a reason why you put things towards the end. So you look at that and you're like, okay, that's a better structure. Then I try to, mimic that, or maybe if I should just do it with a strategy now. It works really great for Tony, or great for, and then I try to do that, and it would like not work. And I'm like, well, let me know what to do, and then just kind of go.
Yeah.
And it's always worked better that way for me.
I feel like you were one of the last of a generation to learn tricks in a way that you're learning it so that you have it, if like for a contest run, or you have it going forward. I mean, I'm talking about like really difficult stuff,
Right.
because the new era, and even I'm guilty of it. Like, we're gunning for one trick to make it once on video, and I'm over it.
See,
Right.
but
Well, I've
you
got
were-
plenty of those where I'm like,
Oh, you did
filmed and
plenty of
that's
those
it.
too, but I'm just saying there were these gnarly tricks that you're like, that I got that trick now.
Yeah, but he could make adjustments on things that were like if you're doing kickflip and you're not using your hands to grab it. Like I've seen him make adjustments with his feet where I'm like, most people would go, "Oh, it's not on. It's a
Right.
wrap," and he'd be like, "Oh, it's still potentially.
Yeah, wait.
I could
No.
potentially
Yeah.
roll away from this." And I'm
There's
like,
potential.
"That's crazy."
There's a toe touching that board.
Yeah, where I'm like,
Let's get back in
I'm like,
there.
it's a wrap, and you're like, no, it's on. And I'm like,
right,
that's
I just
crazy. Most of us call it a day when the like, you know what I mean? Like, if it hits my heel on the way up in a heel flip no grab, I'm like, man, it's over. He's like, nah, not at all. I still have a chance of like
Yeah,
rolling
that's
away,
true.
and he could roll away. And
yeah.
so many times you rolled away that I
Yeah.
feel like that's a confidence in itself, where you're like, dude, I've made worse. You know, like,
Oh yeah, no, totally, always.
yeah, like
There's always one that you've gotten that was
been
way worse
further
than
away,
that
and
one,
I've
yeah.
rolled away.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And it's funny because when like skating with Cardiel and Julian and traveling like, you know, with Jake and all those guys, Joey, there's always these fun things. Like, you know, close your eyes and try to do a fakey hang up or da-da-da. We're always messing around with stuff like that. And I think it was just awesome to set up, you know, for everything else I was doing, because it was just like a looser and funner, and I try not to take things so seriously. And then it was just like, well, it doesn't really matter. Whatever happens, I go learn a trick. You know, once I started getting serious, I'd get upset, you know, and then I'm like, And I think that was really, and the contrast of like that and X Games at the time, you know, it was just a big thing. Like, oh, you're not supposed to go to X Games, or just like,
Oh, right. 'Cause you were
wait a minute,
living
like,
in the hardcore
and
world.
I came through that whole, which I still feel like, you know, you can still be that and do that, but like, you know, when I go to like contests, I've always saw it as like putting my suit on and I'm go to work, you know. And then when I go home, you know, like, okay, because I live a
Yeah.
dream. Like, why would I not want to
Sure.
go handle that, right? But
But you
definitely
put
grew
yourself
over
on the
years.
line. You were not phoning
no,
it in.
Yeah.
Every time. I mean, every single time. You know, especially mega stuff like the stuff that you did. I mean, just Indy 3,
I know.
15, 20 feet. Like that is one of the most
You know what's
frightening
crazy is
thing.
I didn't like I'm not like Jake Brown that's practicing off the 70 all day long, right? You see Jake when he prepares for like
Yeah.
the events.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
It's
going
terrifying.
like, that's constant like risk. And he's like, oh yeah, I just want to get comfortable. I was like, I don't want to get comfortable. I want to land it when I have to, right?
Yeah.
So it was just like, and then the Indy 3 was just like, okay, I know it's possible if and if I spin too much, and it was in my run, so I could make myself do it.
But I mean, the thing about Indy 3, and yeah, I might be focusing in on it too much, but you cannot see Indy 3 landings,
no,
right?
But
Everything
you can see
is
the
wrong
Indy,
about
you can
that.
see the Indy air the whole
That's
time,
it.
and that's what I do. I do an Indy
You can
air.
see your nose.
Yeah, I do that, and I look,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of you see it there. I'm not going to hang up. Then I turn and.
But I mean, you were able to, and hooray! But you were able to like squat stuff like that out
yeah.
off a 20-foot air.
Well,
Everyone else would explode.
I've seen you do plenty and land. So
Yeah,
I'm like, I know it's possible, so I'm going to squat
You took
this
it
one
to a
out.
whole new level.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I need no. And squatting on the Mega, that's when I like when Mega started coming around. I was like, then I started a heavier workout program because I couldn't,
Workout or practice?
no, like
Actually working
leg
out.
workouts, because I noticed that I wasn't that strong, you know. And then when I started skating Mega, that like all that like force, it was just
Yeah.
And I'd squat and I couldn't hold it, you know. So then it was just like, no, if I get my leg strong, I'll hold it.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
So that's when I started thinking, you know, that.
So
that
your
kind of
your first 900 was fakey right?
fakey.
On Mega.
Yeah, first and only. And if I ever do
That was
it
the only
again-
one?
Yeah, and if I were to do it again, I'd try that one. You know, I don't. Or I've tried
That's
frontside
amazing.
nines and got pretty close.
That's okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that was, I don't know about, like, that just felt. I landed super low on one. Like one of them, I looked. It was like I slob, like, and like went all the way around.
Yeah.
'Cause I did the slob 7 fakie to forward.
Yeah.
So in that time, I was like,
Oh,
maybe
you
I'll-
were going to do frontside 9.
Yeah, and then I spun
Okay.
around and then put it on the wall. And then I went to try it again, and I just like went super low and landed really bad, and I couldn't get myself to try it again.
That
But
makes
that was
sense.
it. Yeah. And the backside ones was always frustrating. I can see it, I can spin it, and then I had a hard time. I was just scared of
Oh,
over rotating.
you're doing melon?
Yeah, or I tried indies for a long time.
Yeah, I tried that.
Indy just made me land on my back so
Man,
many
I
times.
Yeah, and I was scared
gave
of
up.
over rotating. That's why I did the fakie to fakie because I was comfortable with it, and if I over rotate, I go to my knees.
Man, I was already
I'm like,
washed
It
up, but
feels safer to me.
I tried it at Woodward into the Resi thing, and because I used to do the Indy 5 where I'd flip upside down. So when
on
I
the
tried
vert
a
ramp?
9, it was a double front flip, which means there was no spin in it, so I didn't have to worry about the chicken neck over rotating.
Yeah.
But I was already washed up. Like me trying to do a legit one,
you
I
could
was
see
like,
it,
dude,
you
you hit
could
the
see
coke
that
and you're
spin.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no, that was the thing. I'd go 1, 2, and then when I'd come over, I'm like, it looks the same as my Indy 5, but there's because that like the 900 stopping the spin for me, I was
But
just
that's
like,
it. You
I'm
and I
gonna
had
die.
that same Indy snap,
Mm-hmm.
and it just completely stops your spin.
Yeah.
Right.
Like as soon as you go to grab it, your body's like, no, we can't go all the way around.
Yeah, and then you force it. That's what I was doing. I was forcing it. In the end, it wasn't comfortable on
same
that last
thing.
Yeah, I
180.
bet.
One of my favorite and something I like to actually make an example of for people where we talk about you, obviously with your vert legendary skill set, and there are things that you've done where it's just like no one will ever do that. That I have this opinion where I'm like, Bob has done these things no one ever done, and my first go-to on that is frontside Narjar. Like
Yeah, the lean front 5.
lean
tail.
front 5 to tail.
Wait,
You seen him
what?
do that, right? He did a frontside Narjar.
Oh wow.
That was at
Yeah, that
was
makes-
at an X Games, I think, the one I landed. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
to me, that's the epitome of like, okay, this is where Bob lives,
Yeah.
and this is what he can do. No one will ever, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see anyone doing that or trying it even.
Yeah.
What would it be? I think I was just thinking. I thought about it just for the. The backside one felt like again. I'd rather do that one than the backside one.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous
My
statement.
comfort
They're
zone,
both-
my
they're
comfort
both
because I
insane.
can start blind. Yeah, they're both suck, but like I'd rather like
We've had some lengthy Narjar discussions
Oh
on
my
this
gosh,
podcast.
dude, yeah.
And
think about hanging up on the backside one.
yeah, well, I mean, there's only, I think the 4 people now.
Yeah.
And Tate is the latest. Tate Carew did
Oh,
one.
yeah, nice.
But
What's,
Sandro's the master.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
in his sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different trick when he does it.
Yeah, but frontside is just, I have to give you all the credit.
No, I
that-
appreciate that. I got to do it Madonna now, just thinking about it. But I don't know if I want to bring that one back on the Mega. Narjar.
Dude, Madonna
We're
Narjar.
thinking about an air disaster on the Mega. That'd be just insane. Frontside, and then blow.
You need like a 12
Having
ply.
Jimmy, I have to like
Yeah.
hang with Jimmy for a bit.
I get a couple of sheets of metal put in the middle of my skateboard.
Jimmy-
I've seen Jason do it with his body.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Indy
yeah,
5?
with your like
Oh, you were
cargo,
there for
yeah,
that.
with your workout
Dude.
Yeah.
workout shorts.
Having a
Like
witness.
super thin, nothing like just he's skating Mega and just
Yeah, I had like a basketball
Like just-
jersey on. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
No,
I
you
learned
did
the, I
your
learned
Indy,
the
you did
hard
your
way.
Indy 5
Yeah.
to body jar.
That was at your place or Woodward?
No,
Nah,
Woodward.
the big
Was it
yeah.
Woodward? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
That,
that was.
that ramp was messed up. That's where Elliot, Marcelo, all those
Oh,
guys.
wow.
Oh, yeah, because
No,
it was
that was Point X.
Yeah,
Where
Point
I
X
saw
is
you was
my
Point
one,
X.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was like,
Was that the end?
Was that
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I thought I was going to die. You know what I mean? Like, I really thought,
you
like,
could have.
when I grabbed my board upside down, as soon as my hand touched my board, I went, oh, I'm over the deck. Like, I knew it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you're that far
Yeah,
over
yeah,
that you
yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to see the landing anymore. I was like, oh, and I immediately ejected and started dog paddling upside down. Like, no. And I'm like, I just get to see it as I hit it. And it's like, I don't think you can hit a worse spot. Like, some people hit their shins.
Did you stay on the deck? Did you
No,
stay
I
on
hit,
the
no, I hit my hip,
yeah.
right? Because I still have a permanent hole.
Oh man, yeah.
Like, I can put my thumb in my butt cheek to the bone.
Yeah, that was a
Dude,
heavy
I have
one,
a
man.
donut
I
permanently
saw
on the
that.
side of my
Wow.
ass. But I hit there and it goes, whoa! And I'm like, I think I'm paraplegic. Like, as I hit, and then I bounce off
time
the
to go-
coping,
time to go down,
Yeah.
and I'm going forwards, and my legs are going over the back of my head, and I'm like, you got to be joking me. So then I tuck and like lean over.
It was a bit of the
and
D-way.
Front flipped.
Flip forward.
And then landed on my back on the flat.
Yeah.
And I remember,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
remember
crazy.
that. Yeah. I was right there.
Jakey started crying. Remember Jakey was like, he's like, "You all right, Jason?" I'm like, "Are you crying, dude? Like, that means I'm not all right." You know what I mean? Because Jake.
I remember
Was
it was
that after
a time.
his slam or before?
No,
his slam?
I was before.
This was
yeah.
like 2004. Point X.
Yeah, I was. I feel like
Before
I was the
X Games.
first mega ramp slam where everyone was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's."
I don't know about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
maybe we should think.
Yeah, I mean that's how. From my
Dude, they
perspective,
came
that's
over-
how it felt with Jake. Where it was
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
maybe
Jake's-
we've done this too.
Yeah.
No,
this is too
for
far.
sure his
Jake's
was like,
the worst one by far.
and that's when it was actual 70. You know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Dude,
it
they
was,
came-
even the bit for the after it was like 64.
They came over to my house, like after it all.
Oh, really?
I drove to Vista. Bucky,
party?
but no, but that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
Bucky came over like, "Hey, how are you?" Because like when I left, like it was a different era. Like I didn't go to hospital. Like I was like, you know what I mean? You're right. I was like, because I remember at first I hit so hard my legs didn't move, and I was like, fuck, I've broke my back.
Yeah, that's a pelvis snap or like a some kind of that was intense.
But it was like a big hematoma or whatever. But I got up and I got in the car and I drove home.
Yeah.
They came over and not to party. Bucky was like,
Wait, he came too?
I don't think he did.
No.
But Bucky came over with Jake and they're like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm all right." And I'm on the couch, you know, with ice and, I mean, obviously all my drugs and alcohol because that was a different me. But they were like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right." But for sure, like the next time I skated Mega, I was like,
Yeah, no.
yeah, like I don't think I
have
did
a-
a 5 ever again on
I have
that
a similar
ramp.
story about just someone coming to visit after I got hurt. After I got hurt at Bob's,
Yeah,
I broke my pelvis and got KO'd, broke my thumb, whatever.
yeah.
Went home I went home. I got to go home that night. So the next day he comes over to check on me. He's like, "You want to see the footage?"
Riley, you did it, and then Riley was like, "Yeah." I think I remember something like that. Yeah,
Riley
you're
wanted
like,
to
"No,"
watch
and
it.
then he's like, "Yeah," and then you're like, "All right." Then we.
Wait, did you watch it?
I didn't want to watch it, but yeah, they
But
were
you
just
did
like,
because you hate watching
Yeah.
slams.
yeah. I mean, but it was so life threatening, and I was
That
there, and
sucked,
I was
yeah.
alive, and I was like, "All right, let's see it."
How'd you feel after you
But-
watched it? Are you happy you watched it?
No, I don't particularly enjoy that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I see it though. I see that there are certain elements of it where I got lucky
Oh yeah.
because I ended up kind of going over the edge. So instead of just hitting the flat, I kind of caught
In between the mini ramp
yeah
and
in
the
between the mini ramp. So I
the
kind of
vert.
caught a ledge, and I was able to sort of catch my hands on it.
Oh.
Not that it was better, but there was
Yeah.
something about it that felt like I got away with it. But
No,
the first, I mean, I don't want to dwell on that, but I will say that I should have known something was wrong that day when he missed his own loop.
No, we were doing the loop at Huck Jam nonstop.
Right.
So
That's-
it was like that. Your loop was just perfect.
perfect, yeah.
Speed, and we had the hip thing. It was, and then we go there. Oh, like yeah, we'll film. You know the Wild Boys thing, no
Right.
problem. And then the first time around, it just like it whipped me, and I came around. I was like, Tony, this is a little weird. Like I remember we
Yeah.
were like both.
Wait, the loop was not.
No, it's
no,
because
because
now it's my
we had been
loop.
riding the Huck
Yeah.
Jam loop, which was all machine made. It was
okay.
perfect.
And
Okay.
then
The one
also
you did.
the landing or the
The roller was
transition was
terrible.
horrible,
terrible.
Okay.
horrible.
So it
horrible
doesn't.
lower
So
tranny, like-
it was like didn't
Yeah,
on
you
the
just
bottom.
like mess
Yeah, yeah,
up,
yeah.
and then
so it doesn't give you the proper speed.
Yeah.
So we're trying to
looping out
compensate
before the loop,
We're
you
trying
know,
to
like you're
compensate
looping out on the
by
roller.
pumping, and you don't
Yeah.
pump.
Yeah.
So I see
Nobody-
him bail, and that should have been my first warning sign. Like Bob just missed his own
His own
loop.
loop, yeah.
Yeah, but no.
You know what's a crazy
never
story
learn.
on that one? Is that right after you slammed, you're in the ambulance. I don't know if you remember this. But this cop showed up. Like he just pulled up.
No,
and
he can't. Wait, I talked about that. He came to the.
he wanted to see if you wanted
Hospital.
if I pushed you or something or
Yeah.
something weird like
It was
that.
super
see
weird.
if you wanted to like sue
Yeah.
me, like he's got your back. Then he's like, "Hey, can I get a photo with you?" He's in the ambulance, and this guy and I was like,
No, he
at
came.
first
He came
I
to
was
the
like,
hospital
Yeah, but at the like I
to
had
do a report
afterwards.
To see if you wanted to press charges against Bob.
against Bob or
whoever, yeah.
or
Wild
TV,
Boys.
Jackass,
Oh, wow.
Wild Boys.
Yeah.
You're like,
Once
were
I
they
realized that he was-
making you do
yeah.
something you were not
Yeah.
comfortable doing?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, like what? Where did you come from?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it was me that said monkey loop.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is all your fault.
I remember I'm at the house because I kicked him out because once I realized he was doing that, 'cause first I was like, okay, and then I heard him, and then you were like, oh, get out of here. I was like, dude, what? Just get out. You know, I was like, I got him out of the house. Oh. So then after that, he went to the hospital.
He went to the hospital, yeah.
That's insane.
Wait,
that was
so
like one of my first visitors.
Wait, you overheard him say, "Did Bob push?" Like,
yeah, no, because I realized he was trying to talk to him in the ambulance, and then Tony's like, "Man, no," he answered something, and then he's like, "Hey, take a photo with me." Like, since you didn't want to incriminate me, like, is a photo okay? You know, like it was like that, and I was like,
yeah, but I didn't.
Dude,
I was not.
You weren't.
I was not coherent in the
You
end.
weren't together, you know.
No.
So I was just like, all right, you out of
That
here.
was the first time I felt pain. I remember them putting me in the ambulance.
Oh, to get That's
what woke me up. I mean,
Right.
I was
You're out of it, but
I
it
was
brought
out
you
of it.
back
I was
into
talking, and then when
real
they get in
world
the
real
ambulance,
quick.
the most intense pain
Right.
I've ever felt in my hip, and I was like, "Ow, something's wrong."
Yeah, you're
Right.
back.
They go, "Oh, well, we'll X-ray that," and I was like, "No, something is really wrong."
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, that was insane.
Yeah, that was a bummer day, but
I
he
have
did come to visit.
Yeah, yep. And you know what's crazy is like I went and did the full pipe loop. Because the image kept coming into my mind of your slam, and I was like, if I don't do this now, I'm gonna like not want to do it.
Right.
And then I went to my full pipe and then did that.
Yeah.
And I remember I went like I was just like showed you the full pipe loop. And it wasn't like, oh, I got you. It was just like, dude, you made me. It was an inspiring thing. Like, let me get this out of the way.
Yeah, no,
And I
get
remember
that.
going up and doing the kick turn, and like thinking, like, oh, fucking Tony. Like, I was wanting to do it because it was just, And then
I get that though,
then I
for
shut
sure,
down.
because you would get scared straight. And it
Yeah.
would just be like, oh, that can happen. I mean,
Because I don't get traumatized by other people's slams much. You know,
Apparently
not. But you realize that it can happen, so it just kind of puts you in
Yeah.
reality check. But the loop is different. Loop is different than mega. Right? Loop is its own little corner that it's like
it is a
we
very
did. I think I did more loops than
specific
I should have.
approach. Yeah, same.
Like from just doing the show, you had
Well,
the
I mean,
idea.
we did almost
You're the
30
one who
shows.
built it for the show, so
we did
had,
almost 30 shows and
every
kinda,
day.
And he and I had to teach everyone how to do it.
Yeah, you're a good teacher.
And you wanted to do it in practice, and I was like, I'm not doing it.
Oh yeah, he would run it cold turkey.
I was like, just do it when it's time.
That makes sense to me. I only did it
Dude.
once, but I feel like I don't need to practice. Like when
If
I did
something
do it, I
happens-
didn't feel like it was athletically difficult.
No, but
it felt like it was like.
Let me put it in perspective. We would go. So the ramp would get set up in an arena.
Yeah.
And it was ready to go by, I don't know, noon that day of the event. So we would all come in just to warm up,
Yeah.
right? And then eventually it'd be like, all right, let's all do the loop so we can get it. This guy rolls in as we're doing like meanders in barefoot.
Yeah.
As we're doing the loop, hasn't warmed up, hasn't skated the ramp, isn't going to do the loop with us.
Yeah.
Because we're doing into the pads for the first few times.
Yeah.
And then he's like, whoa. And we're like, cold turkey. He's like, yeah, man, cold turkey. Woo. And then go and rip it up.
I know I'm not naturally gifted, but that loop thing when I did it, because I did it wrong a bunch of times. I got hurt, and then I
Did you
finally
do it in the back here?
I did it here.
Parking
Yeah.
lot?
When we had
No,
it
in here.
inside.
Inside. Oh, sick.
But when I finally figured it out, I was like, it was just like, I think I did it in shock like 20 times. And then the one where I was like, because I whipped off and like really hurt my back and my wrist. And then I shoulder blocked leaning forward and hit the front. And I was like, okay, so do it
Turned on.
in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, don't lean back, don't lean forward. I was pissed at this point because I was like, I've done every slam. And then when I made it, I was like, dude,
It
I
sucks
didn't
how
need to go
easy
through
it is.
that.
It's
not
sucks-
that
it doesn't,
hard.
right?
That's what it's like. Because it's like, okay, that was easy, but then it's not.
Well,
What could go down, but once you get it, it's like, okay, you got it. But until you do, take a couple good slams, and it's like not really.
And then, but just one small,
one little
lean.
Yep.
yeah.
And is tragic.
It's back in there.
I
but
got
you're-
it to a point where I was, because it was at the house for like
Yeah.
2002, like the King of Skate thing for like, I don't know, a year or so.
Yeah.
I did it every session.
You did?
Every time I skated vert, I go in, I just like skating. and be like, up, cross, drop in, do the loop, do a backside air, and then come through and then keep skating. Like it was like, all right,
amazing.
it's there, you know.
How easily could you do it switch back then?
No, I just do it like regular, so just drop in. But like once, I did switch again at Huck Jam because that's when I was because I wanted to do it every which way because I think that your loop was spun. Mine was one way, and then I think yours was the other.
Oh. Mine's frontside for me, backside for you. Same as yours.
Yeah, same as mine
yours.
then.
Yeah.
But where was it set up? Because I did it like I did it backside, switch backside, frontside, switch frontside.
Tampa, right?
Yes. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the peak, so yeah, near the end of the tour, we were just, loop was just to do. I think my peak loop, like what you're saying, you used to do every session.
Yes,
I was skating the practice session, everyone was over it, and I went and did a whole line, and then as I popped out, I went.
You're right there on the.
Right at the loop and did late shove into the landing.
Right.
So I went like up the vert ramp, late shove into the roll into
and
the
you
loop.
were in, so then you went.
Yeah, and then I was like,
oh, it comboed into the loop.
That's my peak loop moment.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's as far as it goes.
Yeah, because after but you can get it down. You're like because your loop was like, just the speed was right,
Yeah.
you know, and you go in and there's like once I realized it was like a hip thing, and I was just like, okay, once I was here, I'd throw myself there. Right. And then every time do that. And it was like, all right, that's that. But it's the constant over and over. If you were to, okay, let's go do the loop right now. I'd be like, wait, okay. Mainly because you haven't done it in a while. I'm sure that it's like, if you try it long enough.
Yeah, you have to retrain. Well, I mean,
and it's have to be like.
Retrain what you know. Everything you know is gone.
Yeah.
But what I was going to ask you is when you did that gap, did you know that was going to be switch originally?
No. I went to like a conference in Philadelphia for like spiritism. Like some guys were like in town, they were translating these books, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go out and have a meeting with these guys. And Tim and them were building the loop. And when I got back, it was spun the other way. And I told them to spin it that way because I wanted to do the gap, frontside. And then it was like, no, it didn't fit that way, so we just went this way. I was like, but you had to, and then
oh my God.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I think you just made it because it was your backside loop.
No, I wanted to do because I built it to open the gap, right? From that whole idea for King of Skate. I was like, what if we, but in the beginning, the idea was like, say if I don't make the open loop.
That's so Tim Payne too.
Yeah, he's like, I just decided for you. Totally. But the idea was like, okay, if I can't do that, I can at least like do a nose grind on this bar, land on the thing, I wanted to do a combo, right? Like, so I had that. And then once I opened the loop, if I didn't make it, I at least have all that other stuff. So that was the plan. But so I wouldn't mind if it spun, backwards, backside, so that when it was switch, it was frontside for me. And then that happened. I was like, well, okay, I'm not going to do it I'm not going to do a backside air, like it just didn't felt right. Felt way awkward. And then it wasn't like, switch is going to be easier. No, it was just like, it was front side spin, and that's
looked like
what it is.
Such a battle.
Yeah, it was. It was one of the, and it was like, I mean, like all the cameras are there, said you're going to do it. You open up the thing, and then I'm bailing every time on my leg the same time. I'd like put my leg down, spin, turn. Like put my leg down, spin, turn. My ankles were gone. And it was like, I can't. And then one of them, I kind of like, put it on the wall, and then it's worse. Then it's like,
because
now I know I have it, but I don't know if I have it in my body, and I don't know, and it was just like, I turned it on, and then finally it went down. But I had this thought of like, after that battle, I was like, I think a mega loop would have been easier. Like afterwards. I was already designing this like
definitely
bigger landing.
I've had those moments where it's like, well, why not just make it 10-foot transition? Just like,
well, it's just
we're slamming hard before.
Yeah,
and if you miss the mega loop, that'd be death, right? So it's like,
and also, there's a very specific place you land when the loop is our size that we've had, where where the pads can go.
Yes.
Once you make that twice as big, there's no telling where you're going to end up.
Yeah, that was my big thing. Yeah, easier, but if something goes wrong, right?
You're just ejected into space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, you know who I had at the loop, which was, the pads were kind of off at one time, but I had this human pad, and I think you know who it is, Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I remember like seeing the footage, I was like, I'd go around and he'd like jump into to receive me if I slam.
Oh, yeah, Barry
he would
was-
like.
yeah, he
I mean,
was
I
gonna
was like, dude,
sacrifice
that's
himself for sure.
incredible, man. But
Yeah.
like, you don't have to do that. But I just thought that was just I'd never seen anyone like that. You know, like
Oh, he's gonna
'cause
put all out on the line.
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
protector. Like always there, yeah. But I remember that because I saw footage. Like, who's that throwing himself?
Oh, we
And I
got
was
you know
like,
what we got to talk about is so it was funny in that tour because there was this big moment in the show where we only had half the loop up, right, the landing and the takeoff, and then the rest of it was flown into the ceiling, so you couldn't see it
Yeah.
when you're in the crowd. And then we would lower
was a surprise
it,
thing,
and
yeah.
as we're lowering it, we would show videos of loop slams.
Wow.
Right, because it was like the big,
Yeah,
and
it's
us talking about
Yep,
the
yep.
theory of it, and
It was great to watch that right before we went.
I was
every
gonna
time,
say, I
right?
did not
I never
wanna-
watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. And then
Yeah.
they would put it in place, and then Thorne would stand on top of it, and then I would go, and then he would go, and then Bucky would go, and then Andy would go, and then Matt would go, and K-Rob would go, and then by like the fourth person, everyone's like,
It was like, okay,
yeah, cool. That doesn't
looks
look hard.
easy.
But what was super fun was the very last night of that tour, the Loop tour, was Sergi and
I
Lincoln.
knew you were going to say it, Sergi.
Sergi and Lincoln.
Yeah.
Both came to practice and were like, we want to do it.
But they
They
didn't,
wanna learn it.
But they
We
didn't do
wanna
it
learn
in
it.
practice.
Yeah, they learned it in practice.
Okay.
They didn't. I don't know if either one.
No, they were going around like in the pads and stuff, but
So
they
they
wanted,
hadn't
they
made
didn't
it,
do it
maybe.
in the show. Like, and there was like a thing that they didn't touch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all rallied around. They
So
got the
in the
technique.
show
Yeah.
was their
In the-
first time to do it
Yes.
proper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And it made the show. That part of the show
Yeah.
was the best one ever
Yes.
because they were visibly terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took them a few tries.
Oh wow! Wait.
Yeah.
The
They
no,
didn't slam.
wait, but they
they
fell
just
off
did-
with no pads and
Yeah, they just how like when you come around you shoulder
Yeah,
block.
like missed the pump or something, but it wasn't like a heavy slam. It's
Yeah.
just like
But it took them a few tries, so
Right.
there was a build up. So
Yeah.
it was like, oh, that was the best one.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure it was Sergi, the one that Sergi made.
He slid four wheels.
the
He
shuffle.
speed checked, yeah,
Yeah.
because he was starting to
Upside
go.
down.
He was starting to go off the edge, and he threw a little.
Totally.
And we all heard it.
No, and I remember, dude, that's funny because I have that in my mind. It's like, dude, Sergio did the.
yeah,
Yeah,
hearing
because
that.
everyone just kind of was like, "Did you hear what I heard?"
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
there. Like, and
Yeah.
he's, yeah, man, I was gonna go off the edge, so I had to redirect it. Like, dude,
The wobble at 12.
it was amazing.
Yeah. No, that
Sergio.
was. And I think the loop, and that was the thing, because you show the video so that you can kind of get some of build up, and it's not us slamming live, so people to build up.
Sure.
It was like,
Yeah.
okay, a little bit of video. But it was, I think there was one that Bam also was trying.
Bam did it.
Yeah.
And
And whenever that went down, it was like, okay. Then it was the because everyone else had did. We just wanted to do it and get it over with. So,
Yeah.
but it was like, okay, that's easy. But if we get someone to try it
Yeah.
for the first time,
I remember that one too because so that was for a pre Super Bowl special, right? So it was Fox.
yes,
Fox
remember
recorded
that,
the show.
yeah.
It was we did
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
a one-off show in Phoenix with the Loop, and it was after I'd gotten hurt, so I was like, I'm not gonna whatever.
Yeah.
Let everyone else do it this time. But Bam came because Bam was like, I want to get the Loop. I really want to do it. I'm like, okay, come do it. And the producer of the Super Bowl show was super excited to have Bam on it. So Bam starts trying it, and he's getting pretty close. And then that dude has no patience.
Yeah, it's over. He should
And
be
he's like,
doing it right away.
All right, this is good. We're done with this. And I'm like, well, you might be, but he's going to do it.
What do you mean done with this? Done
Like,
filming?
Yeah, it's
he-
like this section. Okay, we're done filming with this thing, and it on like
Yeah, like
zero,
we're on to this
zero
other thing, 'cause
tolerance.
he's
of-
making-
We're not
he's-
going to film him actually make it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like he's
And
got
so-
enough footage of him trying it. That's
No, I had to pull him aside. I go,
Yeah, yeah,
I
no,
go,
you
look,
gotta-
this is how it works. He's onto it. He
Yeah.
is going to do this.
Yeah.
And he's not going to, he doesn't have that many tries. You know what I mean? Like you can't survive that many
yeah. You're not
tries.
gonna be
Yeah.
skating this for an hour.
Yeah, like you have to let him do it. He's like, yeah, but we gotta get this timing. And I was like, well, he's gonna do it. And then like 2 tries later, Bam did it.
Yeah. Wait, and he didn't film it.
They filmed it.
No, they filmed it.
But
Okay.
but Bam shot it for his show.
yes.
Okay.
That was
right.
kind of the rub. Was like Bam was trying to get it for MTV, and this guy was battling because he was doing it for Fox.
Okay.
And I was like, well, he's going to do it. And either you're going to have it on
Or
your
it's
show
gonna be
or
on
it's
someone
only
else.
going to be live on BAM show.
Right. It sounds like a Fox thing.
That was a super fun tour, man. I think it was so different, you know. It's like moto jumping over the ramp, and then BMX, us interacting with everyone, like kind of, but in a fun, you know, not a competition. X Games.
It
that
was.
were there.
I mean,
It was-
looking back, I can't believe that we did
No,
all of that
man.
every night, though.
No,
It really
yeah.
was.
and
It was a lot.
no, and hats off to you putting that whole thing together, man. It was just like that was a huge operation. There was every stadium. You know, where
Yeah, it was
how many
crazy.
buses? I remember like we're in
14.
trucks, buses, and then you'd show up into a town, and then they're building all night.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we sleep wherever
We
we,
had to
get there.
buy 2 lighting rigs because the lighting rigs took so long to put up that they would alternate lighting rigs.
Yeah,
So
man,
lighting
it
rigs
was
would be
insane.
here in Houston, this other one would be in Dallas, and then the Houston one would go to San Antonio, and that one would go
Yep.
into Atlanta. It was,
Yeah, it was like every day, and then there would be like 1-2 day, and then go back. You'd fly home,
I
and
remember-
then you'd fly back, and
Oh
then
yeah,
go
sometimes,
back. And,
but I remember we reached our limit because we kept saying like, well, 3 shows in a row, like we got this. And then there was one week we did 4 shows in a row. Everyone was asleep during the during our break.
Yeah,
our
they're like,
halftime
okay, we're
People
gonna
were
go
asleep
chill,
in the
and then-
in the locker room.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, that's it. 4 shows is we can't
yeah,
do
that was
more than-
exact. I
Yeah.
remember 3 was like intense, but yeah, the 4th one.
Yeah.
Was, you know, it's funny. I don't know if you remember this, but like Matt and I wanted to skydive in New Orleans. And then we did. Everyone was like, "No, but we have to go here." I was like, "No, we're gonna go skydiving." And him and I were like, we're on the Mohawk tour, so we all had the Mohawks, you know.
right.
And
Yeah.
so I'm going with Matt, Mohawks, parachute in the back, getting on the plane, you know, to go to New Orleans, and then we're coming back, and then Matt doesn't have an ID. You know, I bought a pipe or something, you know, and then like I go to the airport, and then they're looking at us like Mohawks, like parachutes getting to the plane, like check in, and then like this is Matt Hoffman, we're at, you know, Tony Hawk show. The guys like looking at us like, we can't let you on the plane, and let's go. So I finally make it, you know, like, and he figures it out, and we're going through security. This guy grabs my pipe. You know, and he's like, "Oh, you can't have." I was like, "What do you mean I can't have a pipe?"
Was it
You know?
used or new?
No, it was new because I bought it there.
Okay.
So I've just like, then the security guy called the cop, you know, and the cop shows up, and then he like looks at the security guy. He's like, "You're getting me out of where I am for this pipe," you know, and then gives him a hard time, right? And then this time I had my ID and everything, and then now Matt with no ID is already in the plane. You know, I'm like, dude, how is that? Like
Yeah.
you know, and then the cop is like, pulls me aside. He's like taking me to the plane, and then he opens up the bag and pulls out a stem.
Oh,
And he's like, next time you clean it up, knucklehead. Have a good trip.
wow.
I was like, oh shit.
Oh my god!
So I almost didn't make it to one of the shows because
Wow.
I had a stem of cannabis.
I like how like in the moment where you actually would have gotten in trouble, that was where it's like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, no, and he
We
was
figured.
cool about it. He was like, he gave the guy a hard time. I don't know if you read, because you know, it's like, it's Hoffman, and we said we always use your name. You know, it's like, hey, it's Tony Hawk. You know,
Yeah, it
it's
goes
cool.
a long way, right?
It's cool. You know, I got away with that. But like he was just like, he saw that. But I mean, it just didn't make sense because both Mohawks, parachutes, no ID. You know,
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, why did we get on this plane? Like, and then, you know, I show up, Matt's just chilling there. Then we make it show next day. So you almost had an empty slot.
Well, but I just appreciate that you put yourself on the line every night. I mean, no one half-assed it in the least.
Yeah.
Everyone was going for it. And
Yeah.
and injuries to prove it.
Yep.
You know, there were times when it was like, oh, like
But dude, it's a
so-and-so got
Tony-
KO'd.
Well, it's remembering
Ruin got
everything.
wrecked.
You know, it was like, okay, what it was complex. Like I think
Yeah.
about it now, like, well, I remember like sitting here and we're doing it was the warehouse. We were doing the practice.
Yeah.
And I
no,
remember,
we had it up. We put it in the hangar in Riverside.
Oh, okay. Yes.
We had it in
yes.
the airplane hangar.
Yes, that's right. And
Because
then,
that's where the motorcycles fly.
yeah, but I remember where Matt was like, we're all like, okay, ready to go, and we're about to drop in, and Matt's like, and we're like,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
and like stop, and he had his like thing
Yeah.
written down, his line on his
No,
bike,
on
'cause
his
a bike.
handlebars.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah, and we were just like,
I
Like,
wouldn't do it if
but
he
we're
those
all
guys-
confident, and then all of a sudden, Matt's like, and we're like, dude, if you're and you got a bike,
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
gonna run into me, you know, in every show, I remember like he did an alley oop and landed in the middle.
No,
of the,
that was
Yeah.
Because Mira
Yep.
went too
long.
early.
Oh, and he couldn't cross
And
because
then he couldn't cross the channel, so he just went straight up
Yeah.
and landed in the channel.
So there's all that stuff going on that it was just like.
But
Yeah.
those guys operated differently, and I remember this so vividly, is that we would be working on routines for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, that, you know, and it was just skating.
Yeah.
Right. So it was 6 of us, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And we're all doing all this stuff. Channel. Okay, you do this, and then it was their turn to figure something out. So 5 BMX riders. They would all congregate in one corner and start talking. And then like 20 minutes later, they go, "Okay, we got it."
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you got it? Like, yeah, we figured it out. Like, you want to do it? Nah, we got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, then
What?
yeah, it's all good. We have it, you know.
And they did.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
it
think
was,
that there were a few times where we just pushed it too far. I remember we tried to do quadruples. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And there wasn't enough room on the wall for like the 4th person
even
to
if you
carve under.
timed it perfectly or whatever.
What's
it is,
that?
Even if you timed
Even
it
if you timed
perfectly,
perfectly,
yeah.
like someone had to arc so far that there just wasn't room for that.
Yeah.
And I think it was Kevin Robinson went up the highest and was coming down on top of at least 2 people.
Oh right, yeah.
And so he put his foot down, and then like his foot landed before his bike and just rolled his ankle in the worst way.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No.
then there were times like that where
After a few, you start pushing, right? Like you do it, and it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
looks good, and then you start trying to figure out new things for the
yeah, and
for the
that was
show.
one of the moments
Yeah.
where I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we've gone too far.
Yeah.
Like why can't we just be here? No, we
Yeah.
had to keep pushing it.
Yeah, it was already pretty impressive, you guys. Maybe calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The motorcycle add-in was just insane too. The track,
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, I think that design and you know, and one of the toughest, and I it was just like we're in Seattle, and we all had this corner of like where you could go, where you could, because the bikes would have to start
Yeah,
jumping.
yeah.
And I mean, we were like super, like okay, but we're cruising around. I think Tony came up on the takeoff that carry.
I went an extra wall
Just
in our line,
dude, it was like one, and then
and I popped up
Yeah.
near the jump, and that spooked Carrie. I mean, I
So
shouldn't have
he-
been there. It was on
yeah,
me.
no, but it was all these little things, but just that one
and
little
then that
extra.
spooked Carrie, and Carrie
yeah.
let off the gas.
Yeah.
which
And it was like
the worst thing ever.
No, it was the crazy part was it was like right before like intermittence or whatever, and then he does that, but it's like he lets off the gas so he doesn't hit you.
Yeah.
And then he hits the other side of the the worst thing of a slam you could
Like,
think he
yeah.
took, right? Like so boom, he probably broke some bones there.
Oh, he got demolished.
And then he came back down and put his hand down and then landed on a thing, but like, and then scream and quiet. Remember that? It was just like quiet and just screaming. And then it was right before, it was like seconds before the intermission. And then it went to like break.
To dark, yeah. And then we had to put the curtain up. Yeah, it was the worst.
Oh
that was the
my
worst day of
You know
the
what I
Gosh,
just
man,
realized
yeah.
is that tour is kind of like it's SeaWorld where people used to jump off the front of killer whales. Like
Well, like something can.
it's a thing that if you saw it, like you can tell your kids and your kids will go, nah, because you're not going to do it again. Like
Yeah.
you're not going
There
to
was-
do moto dudes crossing skateboarders.
No, but the thing was is that
ever again.
No, because accident it happens, right?
because
Like,
you're doing-
trying to put. We're doing this. It's like, yeah, we want to do it day in day out, and it's all good for us. It's like but it is a thing, a dangerous thing. Like Matt in the middle of the thing,
Yeah.
like that happening.
No, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, like
it's like
we can
saying you're
go
gonna
into
skate
each
all
other,
day,
yeah,
like
yeah.
your level, his level. You're not gonna fall off on a trick that you've done
Right.
a million times. It happens.
Yeah,
like
totally.
it doesn't matter how great you are, how much you skate. Mistakes are going to be made. Moto, BMX,
Yep.
all of them. Like
Yep,
all the
totally.
guys that have all been at the top, have had all the medals, have fallen off on their the most basic trick that they have, because that's just how it
But
goes in
ours
this
was just
sport.
a different level of complicated.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
and
thing.
danger. But
No, you're all weaving in
thing-
But
and out
it
of
made
each
it
other.
incredible. That's why I think that it was just one of the coolest things.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be put together in that way again. It was just cool to be a part of it and cool to, see. And whoever saw the shows, and
No,
there
I was
packed
super
shows,
proud of it,
was just
but definitely
amazing.
that was
Yeah.
another moment where
Yeah.
like we just pushed it too far.
Yeah, we were
our
like, oh,
routines
okay.
were
Yeah.
too complicated.
Yep.
And it was
Because
all
we did
too,
a few, and then we changed, right? We did,
Yeah,
like,
well,
we-
so there was one thing about that too, and like I said, it was on me, and I know I scared Carrie, and everything went terribly wrong. But one of my takeaways from that was, remember Clifford at Optante, he took me aside later and he's like, hey, no offense, but if you show up on that takeoff ramp, I'm not letting off the gas.
Yeah.
Right, because that's the other
I'm
thing.
making it.
Because that it was a spook, and it would have been best, right?
And everyone
actually.
else, all the other guys except Kerry said, same. Like,
Same.
sorry.
Yeah, if
you're shit
that's
out of
happening,
luck.
I'm gonna I'm gonna hit you, and then
I'm gonna hit
go
you. You're
flying.
you're going to flat, but I'm making it across.
Right.
Yeah, because he doesn't.
So-
he has to.
But that's the thing. It was more Kerry was being you know what I mean?
No,
It wasn't like
totally. It was a
he was
split
trying to be
second.
courteous.
Yeah.
But he was the only one that would have done that.
Right.
That would have let off.
And you never know. 9 times out of 10, he probably would have kept on the gas too. It was.
I think it
just
just got spooked, and he made that split second decision.
Yeah.
I mean, Cliff could have decided, that too.
Yeah, because moto dudes have to make it over.
But I don't know if you remember this. The night before was our first night of that tour. It was in Vancouver. So we did Vancouver, and then we did, I think that was Spokane. Spokane is where Kerry got hurt. But the first night of the tour was just a comedy of errors. Like all kinds of stuff went wrong. Where at one point,
a whole new court, like we did all new stuff, right? It was all new.
Yeah, but I mean, like Thorne got knocked out. He's our announcer. Mm-hmm. He got KO'd. Bucky was looking over the deck at something, and I think your board flew up. KO'd Bucky.
So it was all the one
KO'd Bucky.
Yeah, that's right.
Loose skateboard.
Yeah.
Knocked him out.
Because he fell, and Bucky was looking over like this, and the board just came up.
But it didn't cut him, it knocked him out.
No, and then...
that was one day before?
That was the first show of that tour.
Gosh, yeah.
Remember that we had a live band.
Yep.
Please tell me somebody got knocked out in the band.
3 guitar strings.
Oh.
He's like, I've never broken one guitar string.
It would have been way cool if this story was
3.
Bob's board
Someone
shut out and knocked out the bass player.
Yeah.
That's
Someone
funny.
threw fireworks onto the ramp. Like it
From the
was just
crowd.
chaos.
From the crowd.
From the crowd.
Did he get kicked out?
By then we're like,
Part of
what's
the show.
next? No, but I mean, by then I was like, oh, what else?
Yeah, what
is
else
there?
is going down? Yeah.
And then, it was chaos. And so then the next night, but it was, I remember so vividly.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was my show, so
no,
it all
totally.
weighs heavy on me.
As you say
so
it, I
the
remember.
next night, we're like, all right, let's get our shit together. Right?
Yep.
We cannot go on like this. And then the show was much tighter, except for the one miscue where I popped up on the other side and Kerry wasn't ready, and then it was the
And
worst
it's like
thing
one
ever.
of those things. I mean, it's like just goes down. I mean, but Deegan had the flat tire. Remember that when he had the flat tire and he pushed through. He had the flat tire on the on the corner. He's like, oh shit, and just and you could tell he's like, let me just make it across, and he made it across the flat tire, and then I was like, okay,
He kind of bounced.
there's no
on the
stopping.
flat, like
so,
deck checked it.
to your
Yeah,
point of
moto
like,
doesn't.
gas it.
You can't. On the way up, it's the loop.
Yeah.
On the way, once you get down the roller and you're looking at, there's no
there's
way
definitely
out.
points of no return.
There's no like, like if we had flat tires, if we could have a flat tire on the way of the loop, you can't bail anymore. You've
Right.
got to try to make it all the way over. That's moto. You have to keep going.
Yeah, chaos.
That
so
was
much
chaos. That was chaos.
Cool show.
We're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's okay.
I just don't think we can get away with that now.
No, yeah, I wonder.
Look, you mean like they wouldn't let you do the show?
I don't know. I mean, Nitro Circus has it, but they've got the stunt pads. They got everything. Ours was
But
just
they don't
like,
cross each other though. Do they?
No,
They go together.
No, it's just
Skateboarders-
jumping with different
But it
things,
would-
right? Yeah.
But also, I mean, just to clear things up, like we weren't just careless, and there was a very real thing where if you heard motorcycle engines, you brought it to the middle of the
There
ramp.
were tapes. Remember we put the
Yeah, there
tapes on
was
the
tape.
thing?
It's still
like after a certain
it's
time.
still
Oh,
on
is it
there
still
on the
there?
deck. Yeah, but you knew that the last 4 sheets of the ramp on either side were off limits. Now that you hear motorcycle engines,
Okay, it's good.
you
I
should
can
bring it to
remember
the
that.
center. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was a good decision too, because there was a part of the show where only motorcycles and only skateboarders. That was a part of the show where it was motorcycle and skateboarders, but we had to keep it in
We had
here.
to keep it in. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
during one of the warm-ups, we were doing it for a news thing, and DMC is just there cruising. Woo!
Oh,
and
yes.
just flying
Oh,
around.
yeah.
And
We're
we're
like,
all
dude.
trying to yell at him, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
And the
Like,
bike,
they're coming.
they're
Like,
coming.
they're coming.
Yeah,
and he's just like, woo, doing a whole
Yep.
routine,
Yeah.
using the whole ramp.
And what happened?
I think it was Drake McElroy went through, and he's like, whoa, dude. Like,
yeah, I think I
yeah.
shouldn't be here.
I think that was Dennis's first time with all of it. So
Yeah.
he got a pass. And
No,
Dennis came through.
Yeah. What was he like? He had to come in last minute.
He had
Was
to
it
come
Dave?
in because Dave Merritt left.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And
He
it was-
came in. He
it-
came in on the last day of rehearsals.
Yeah. No, he picked up. He had
And
some
watched
deep
all of it. We had to
conversations.
burn him DVD. This is the sign of the times. We had to burn him DVDs of all the routines.
Yeah.
Send it to him in Kansas City, and then he flew in the next day, and nailed all of it.
That's
DMC.
how they do it. Memorize, have
Yeah.
conversations, and he didn't need to be
my
there.
God.
But everyone's personality was so different. I mean, well, Clifford was obviously, he'd show up with his cane. He's like, I barely walk.
Oh, yeah, he came off a
and
broken
then he'd
leg.
like hold his leg over his motorcycle and then
Yeah.
and then
Moto dudes.
come
Flying
out.
Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Dude,
okay.
I saw him maybe like 8 years ago or so.
Oh, right on.
He was looking good. Yeah. Clifford,
The
what up?
antics. Yeah, man. No, that was fun. That was a super fun time.
Dude, well, Bob, we love having you. We love your
Well, I
skill
appreciate
set. We love your style. I mean, like I said, I still tell people because Bob Burnquist has this legacy. There's stuff that I believe that no one else will ever do, and he owns it.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you for that.
A lot. Love you back and love everything you do and what you've done. It's funny because I was talking to these guys in Brazil, when you went in 89, like, the overall skate show, I couldn't go or whatever, but that visit, and Christian, and those, you guys going out, and that's why I see how like us traveling and going places, how it kind of expands. But, you go in there, Brazil appreciates you so much, man. It's just like people talk about it, to this day. And it was just one session.
I know,
It's like
so
one
wild.
demo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember he's sick and the promoter's like, you skate or you're going to, like, and he's like, food
no,
poison.
no. This is how. Let me
And
break
he's
it
like,
down.
Go skate.
I got food poisoning.
Yeah.
Like really bad, like dysentery food poisoning, where I was uncontrolled. I was shaking. Like I couldn't function. And it was 2 nights of demos. And the first night, like I came there and I was just like sweating and like I couldn't even walk. And he's like, you got to go tell the crowd you can't skate. I'm like,
If you're not skating, you're going to tell him.
yeah, you got to go tell him. And I was like, what? And he goes, and then Lance needs to tell the crowd that he's going to skate extra hard since you're not skating. And I was like, okay.
That's so
did it.
bad, dude.
So I go out to the crowd and I tell them, and they start chanting. And Lance is like, yeah, I'll try to skate hard. Sorry. They start chanting.
They probably
and
start
then
chanting,
I
like
go,
going off on Tony.
No,
like,
I go, what are they chanting? He's like, none. And I was like, what are the, and so
We don't
finally I
wanna
asked him,
tell
what
you.
are they chanting? Son of, how would you say son of a bitch?
Yeah. Filho da puta.
Yeah. That.
Dude,
That.
give the
Probably
guy.
like, filho da puta.
Yeah, like angry. Like,
Like, yeah.
I was just like,
You
yeah.
you didn't know what they were saying, but you could tell it wasn't like you're awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
Wasn't
so
cool.
did you,
Or no,
because
we
you
forgive you.
skated. So like, did you skate then?
We forgive you. We forgive you.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't skate
You
that.
can flip. So that day, but
I
there's
skated the
footage.
next
of you-
night.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
I skated the next night, and I swear it was the only time I skated where I felt like I was in a dream. Because
Man,
my
that is
body
so
was still
insane.
completely jacked.
Yeah.
But I was able to function, and it was like, I guess I'll grab here. Now
Yeah.
I'm spinning. Whoa, this is
Wow, what a
working.
trip,
Okay,
man.
what's happening?
So even in that state, that like the fact that you skate, I'd be pissed. The promoter would be like, "All right, dude, I'm
I
sick.
had no
can't."
recall. I mean, no one was there on our side.
Yeah.
Oh my
know?
gosh, man.
It's a different era.
Well, yeah, no. But we appreciate
But it also
Yes,
it speaks to the passion
yeah,
of the Brazilians.
Yeah.
They're passionate.
Yeah.
they're very
and they're
passionate.
amazing. Like they are so hardcore skate.
Well,
I love it.
They can flip back on you quickly.
Yeah.
The crowd. Like I remember
Yeah.
Andy. We did a vert contest down there. It was
Yeah. I know
right
the
after
story.
2001.
I do like this one.
Dude, it was right after all that. And we're skating, and then, every time I skated, I'll go off. And then, Andy would skate, and they'd scream, Bin Laden.
Wait,
What?
Dude.
Bin Laden?
Bin Laden. Yeah. And
What?
dude, it was like in
Oh,
2000.
I thought
it was
I thought it was the
early.
yellow thing.
That was after. But
Oh.
like this, they went that hard.
Wow.
And I immediately like popped out and I was like, dude, that's like not even that cool at all. Like, and then they're just like, every time he went, Gringo, they loved, like, it was like, they loved him.
Oh,
Like I
you swapped- you
I
flipped
swapped it
it, yeah.
around. But it was just so intense. It's like,
That's gnarly.
going
Wow.
off on you
Yeah.
for being food poisoned and then screaming Bin Laden. I'm just like, what's with the switch?
Oh, that's
They
no,
love
the
and
one
hate
I
switch.
heard is that they were calling him yellow. Like yellow was an insult because he wore a yellow helmet.
Yeah, no, yellow means that
it
you're
was a crazy
afraid.
move.
That you're scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then another time with Chris Sen, like, he was skating the beach, some event there, a TV event. And it's Chris, and we're skating. He bailed something, and then he's just like, at the end of his run, he just like flips off the crowd like that. And oh my gosh, dude, the whole place was like ready to like go just get him. If he was going to leave, screaming, filha da puta, da 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 da. And and then I had to come on again and be like, guys, it's all good. We're skating. It's like, it's flip off. It's not you. It's like, fuck, da da da, and then they're like, okay, and then every time he skated, they're like, Gringo. But
Wow.
they were ready to like,
Wow.
yeah,
Frightening.
Man, if I go to Brazil, I'm not going without Bob. That's for sure.
no,
Yeah.
I can have a recording, if something goes down.
Yeah, can you send me a video
Yeah.
saying Jason Ellis is cool, just in case? I'd be like, hey,
No,
look
guys,
at look
guys,
at.
Wait,
he's
wait,
the
hold on.
West Coast cowboy.
Yeah, it's different.
It's cool.
America,
Yeah, please
Australia.
help. Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
Okay.
Dude.
Dundee.
Yeah, whichever
This is
one.
it. We're
I'll take it.
multinational here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, thanks. That was amazing.
No, thank you.
Dude,
Awesome.
Legend, Bob Burnquist right here. And also, just so you know, I've seen him skate recently. He hasn't missed anything.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what you're lacking. I don't know if they're slowing down for you.
Oh man, no, I need to skate more. I mean, if anything, I appreciate it, but like I feel like I need to skate. It's just good to have somewhere to skate. In Brazil, I was just skating park, and it wasn't really doing. It's like if you go to
We
a
know
park,
the vibe.
it's just like, oh, okay, this is fun, but I need to, and then a vert ramp. All right.
Yeah.
And then now I'm here.
All right. Well, it's all yours.
Let's do it.
See you here. We're gonna go skate.